Part 89. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 881. Although there is no restricted airspace after entering the primitive star, Wang Feng still did not use the Yanhuang in order to save energy. Although he has a lot of life energy now, no one knows how long they will stay on the primitive star, so Wang Feng is also saving as much as possible. Especially now that they are not fighting alone, but attacking the resident of the cosmic ghost together with the human race on the primitive star, they should naturally go there with the human race on the primitive star. Otherwise, it is a bit unreasonable for them to sit on the Yanhuang and let Haoshan and the others walk. Moreover, once they know that Wang Feng and the others have a lot of life energy, Dong Huangtai may have other ideas. After nearly 3 days of marching, they finally approached the resident of the cosmic ghost, and the cosmic ghost certainly knew about the movements of the human race. After all, they are hostile to the human race. Such a large-scale march has long been noticed by the cosmic ghost clan. The cosmic ghost clan is not as powerful as outside in the primitive star, because there are not so many creatures in the primitive star to provide them with life energy. In particular, the cosmic ghosts can only feed on the vitality of animals, and plants are not in their menu. Therefore, the human race and some other omnivorous intelligent races live better on the primitive star. After all, they can grow plants to serve as their own food. After discovering the human army, the cosmic ghosts also sent out their own army. They also rely on walking. Although they are also a high-tech race, the life energy used as energy is more precious to them, so they will not easily use high-tech weapons such as warships. However, unlike the devourers, the cosmic ghosts on the primitive star can also directly use their palms to absorb the vitality of other creatures, but they also use weapons, not bare-handed. Seeing the cosmic ghost army coming to fight, I hope the expeditionary army will be the first to show their weapons. The cold weapons they are using now are all specially made when they were on the mother planet, although the technology on the mother planet may not be as good as that of the human race on the primitive star. But after all, the resources on the mother planet are sufficient, especially for the cold weapons made by this kind of weapons. Technology can't play a big role. As for the human race on the primitive star, Wang Feng and his team also gave them a batch of cold weapons to arm themselves. Anyway, Wang Feng asked Gao's Hixing for a lot of these things at that time. Now the Hope Expeditionary Force and the human army on the primitive star have not started to mix. They all want to see the combat power of the other army. Therefore, they are now two troops moving forward in parallel. When the human race and the cosmic ghost army approached, the two sides did not have any dialogue at all, and directly entered the topic and charged towards each other. This time, the Hope Expeditionary Force was dispatched in full force, while the human army only dispatched more than 30,000 people. Because the more people dispatched, the more supplies and other things need to be mobilized at the same time. Therefore, two large-scale wars are now avoided by all races in the primitive star. However, even if the human race of the primitive star has only mobilized 30,000 people to participate in the war, with the addition of 100,000 people from the Hope Expeditionary Force and nearly 100,000 troops from the Cosmic Ghost, this war has been upgraded to a scale of 10,000 people participating. This kind of war is already a large-scale war for the races on the primitive star. At least, if it were not for delaying the time for Dong Huangtai to enter the Endless Tower, Fuxi and Haoshan would never launch such a large-scale war. Fortunately, Wang Feng has Xianyuan space, so they don't need any baggage soldiers for their march, which greatly reduces the cost of the war. Normally, if you want to launch such a large-scale war, the total number of teams will far exceed the number of combatants on the battlefield. Generally speaking, the ratio of the number of auxiliary personnel such as medical soldiers, baggage soldiers, and cooks to combatants will be as high as 2 to 1. In other words, if 10,000 troops are deployed on the battlefield, then at least 20,000 logistics personnel are needed to ensure the logistics supply of 10,000 combatants. As for the cosmic ghosts, since they are the attacked party, the scale of the war is beyond their control. It is impossible for them to send out 10,000 people to fight when the human race has sent out hundreds of thousands of troops. In terms of individual combat power, the cosmic ghosts are stronger than human soldiers, because they can recover their injuries by absorbing the vitality of the enemy in the war. However, when the cosmic ghosts fight, there is no formation, just a random fight, so it is not so difficult to deal with in a large-scale war. The only thing to note is that the upper and lower levels of the cosmic ghosts are quite strict, which is similar to the Devourers. In other words, on the battlefield, they are impossible to have deserters, and their fighting will is quite tenacious. Fortunately, deserters are impossible for the current Hope Expeditionary Force. In this regard, the two sides are evenly matched. In particular, although they have not fought many battles with the cosmic ghosts, they have fought with the Devourers many times, and the difference between the two is not much. In particular, now they have finally encountered a more normal enemy again, and they don't have to chop and kill a group of flying insects every day. Therefore, at the moment they just stepped into the battlefield, the people of the Hope Expeditionary Force actually seemed very excited. The more than 30,000 human soldiers who entered the battlefield with them, although they felt that these guys seemed to be very warlike, they were all unwilling to lag behind and charge towards the cosmic ghost. Because the human army is composed of two armies, they are competing with each other and want to suppress each other, and in this way, the cosmic ghost will suffer. They did not expect that the warriors sent by the human race this time would be so fierce and desperate. Wars like this have actually happened frequently in the past. Even the cosmic ghost sometimes takes the initiative to attack other races to get some wild food for themselves. However, in this kind of war, ordinary warriors just mean it and will not fight so hard. Although the cosmic ghost feels that the human race seems to have a little too many people this time, it does not take it too seriously. The human army seemed to be less than 150,000 people. After removing the logistics and other flying combat personnel, there were less than 50,000 people who could really enter the battlefield. Although this scale was too many for their small-scale operations, the cosmic ghosts were not too cautious. Unexpectedly, the cosmic ghosts felt something was wrong as soon as they came into contact. One side wanted to perfunctory, and the other side was desperate. The cosmic ghost army was caught off guard and suffered a big loss. Especially the people on the side of the Hope Expeditionary Force, they hated the cosmic ghosts. These guys all came from Atlantis. For them, Atlantis is their home planet, and the Hope base is their home. And it was because of these damn cosmic ghosts that they forced them to leave their planet and destroyed their home planet. Although they did not really verify the last one, they all put this crime directly on the head of the cosmic ghost clan. Leaving their hometown and becoming homeless, this feeling is definitely not pleasant. Although the Hope Expeditionary Force has found a place to settle down on both the mother planet and the original star, at least their generation will not really regard it as their home. And their desperate actions on the battlefield naturally mobilized the morale of the human army on the original star. They originally looked down on the Hope Expeditionary Force and thought that they were the purest human race. At this time, seeing this group of guys rushing up one by one, of course, I can't be compared with them. So I directly turned on the crazy mode. Fortunately, the cosmic ghosts saw that the situation was not good and immediately sent reinforcements again, which stabilized the situation. However, their casualties were far greater than those of the human race. However, by comparing them, the combat effectiveness between the Hope Expeditionary Force and the human race on the original star can be directly seen. Although the human race on the primitive star thinks highly of themselves, they rarely participate in wars due to the lack of resources. Although they have never stopped training, training is completely different from the real battlefield, so their comprehensive combat effectiveness has been affected to a certain extent. And what about the Hope Expeditionary Force? Since the formation of the army, from the very beginning of the Guardian Corps, they have been fighting zombies, devourers, mutants, and cosmic ghosts. They have experienced a very hard battle in the Endless Tower before reaching the primitive star. It can be said that these guys have come from all kinds of wars all the way, and their cooperation with each other has long been perfect, especially when fighting against cosmic ghosts. Their previous three-person combat team can be used again. This is the most skilled combat formation they use, so they can cooperate very well in the battle. Once there is a wounded person, they will be immediately covered by their own people and enter their own camp to avoid being killed by the enemy because of the wounded. Therefore, up to now, the Space Ghost Army has lost at least 4,000 to 5,000 people, while the Hope Expeditionary Force has miraculously maintained a zero-death record. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 882. Since the beginning of the war, the human army has lost about 1,000 people, and all of them are from the original star. There is no Hope Expeditionary Force. Moreover, although there are more than 200,000 people on the battlefield at the same time, the front line, that is, the place where the two battles are, is not that large. It is probably about 100 or 200 meters long, and there are not so many soldiers who can be exposed at the same time. However, the Hope Expeditionary Force occupies the vast majority of this front line, at least more than 3/5, which means that the damage they bear and output on the battlefield is far greater than that of the original star human race. However, although the Hope Expeditionary Force looks brave in combat, it is a combat unit of 3 people, and they cooperate with each other, while the human army is a single unit. Although there is a certain formation, they basically charge bravely on their own. Moreover, the front line of the Hope Expeditionary Force is constantly rotating. No matter which group of combat team soldiers are injured, they will be immediately replaced to the back of the team, and then new personnel will be added immediately. The 3-person combat team will not be affected at all because of the replacement of new people. This is the accumulation of the Hope Expeditionary Force in long-term battles. Of course, instructor Li Yingning also contributed to it. And it's ridiculous that Li Yingning's combat experience comes from the fratricide between humans. Although the human race on the original star sometimes has internal fights, there has been no war inside because there are many races on the original star. But Atlantis, since the occupation of Atlantis, it seems that the war between humans has begun, and it has almost never stopped, because there is no pressure from foreign races, and the entire planet is ruled by the human race. Therefore, a lot of conflicts can be provoked between races, countries, regions, and even between 2 different ruling parties in a country. What they are fighting for is very simple. In fact, whether it is because of the land area or because of a certain event, the real source is all interests. It is these wars that have accumulated too much experience for Li Yingning, a long-lived devourer. The war within the human race has not become restrained because they are all human. On the contrary, the war seems to have become more cruel and ruthless. The loser of the war may even be exterminated as a whole race. Plundering, enslaving, ravaging captives, using humans to test various war weapons, and even directly cooking people, such cruel things can even be brought to the public during the war. Sometimes, the suffering brought to mankind by war is no less than that of the end of the world, and even more than that. Moreover, the strangest thing is that some large-scale wars are often provoked by a certain person or a certain trivial matter, and can even sweep the world and cause the deaths of hundreds of millions of people. However, these have provided the Hope Expedition Army with a miracle that no one has died so far. Therefore, no one can tell whether the war is good or bad. There will always be only a small number of people who can benefit from the war, and they are definitely not the soldiers who fight bravely on the battlefield. However, the fact that no one in the Hope Expedition Army has died now is also due to Wang Feng's character. Because no matter which army it is, it will inherit the character of their military commander, and Wang Feng is the military commander of the Hope Expedition Army. Since the establishment of the Hope Base, because it is in the end of the world, Wang Feng is very concerned about human casualties, because there are not many people originally, especially those soldiers. Therefore, although Wang Feng often takes a desperate approach, he is very cautious when leading a large group of soldiers. The human army, those who stayed in the original star, were all led by Haoshan, but they were mainly led by soldier Lord Qiyu and god of war Xing Tian. From the nicknames of these two people, it can be seen that these two people are actually similar to Xian Yuan. They are the kind of people who rush forward without caring about their lives when fighting, so of course most of their soldiers are of this style. In their opinion, if you retreat and seek shelter because of injuries when you are on the front line, it is a desertion behavior, which they will never accept, but in the Hope Expeditionary Force, this is the best way to avoid losses. Therefore, the wounded of the Hope Expeditionary Force will retreat directly to the rear of the team. Some of the seriously injured will even be taken away and withdraw from the battle. The warriors of the human race will basically be replaced by the warriors in the rear after they die in battle. In other words, if the damage suffered by the Hope Expeditionary Force and the human army is numerically quantified, with a total of 10,000 points of damage, the Hope Expeditionary Force may have suffered at least 6,000 or 7,000, but they are shared by 100,000 people, so although there are many wounded, no one died. The human army suffered 3,000, but it was all borne by the thousands of people in the front, so they lost more people than before. However, because they were in the middle of a war, neither the warriors of the primitive star human army nor the Hope Expeditionary Army paid attention to each other, but simply poured all their attacks on the opposite cosmic ghost. However, Duan Lei and Haoshan did not join the battle at this time, but were observing the armies of both sides. They naturally saw the casualties on both sides. Duan Lei did not react, but Haoshan frowned. But Haoshan hesitated but did not take any action. The two sides are still fighting fiercely. Even if he informs Qiyu and Xing Tian, he cannot immediately change the fighting style of this army. It should be almost done. Haoshan said as he watched his own front continue to advance. What's almost done? Duan Lei couldn't help but be stunned. Their troops hadn't really broken into the territory of the cosmic ghost yet, so why were they almost there? That's basically what the original war was like. Haoshan explained. Because there are restrictions on the original star, you cannot truly exterminate a race unless this race does not send its own people outside. Moreover, the Cosmic Ghost clan is not using all their strength now, because the war is still within the level they can accept, but once they enter their territory, their bottom line will be touched, and the scale of the war will expand. Right now, we just want to use the war with the Space Ghost to destroy Dong Huangtai's plan. Therefore, we cannot expand the war. Although the human race is stronger than the Space Ghost, if a full-scale war breaks out, our human race's resources will not be able to survive at all. Without the ability to support it, it will quickly decline. Duan Lei frowned and looked at the battle line again. He wanted to continue, but the situation mentioned by Haoshan was not something he could decide by himself. Although he hoped that the expeditionary force would have a deep hatred for the cosmic ghost, Duan Lei, I don't want to drag the entire human race into the water because of them. If you want all the resources of the expeditionary force to be used, it is possible to uproot all the forces of the cosmic ghost on the primordial star, because although the cosmic ghost can be said to be invincible outside, on the primordial star, resources are also restricted. Their biggest factor, even because of their characteristics, makes them more restricted. Duan Lei looked at Fuxi, who also nodded to him. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Let's discuss it first. Later, Duan Lei and Haoshan issued orders to stop the attack at the same time. After all, there were two armies. Neither of them could command the two armies at the same time. After receiving the order, the two armies stopped advancing at the same time and began to slowly retreat. However, the cosmic ghost side did not pursue it. The two armies slowly opened the distance. Of course, the human army of the primordial star brought back all the corpses of the fallen warriors and did not leave them to the cosmic ghosts. If they were left behind, the corpses of these warriors would undoubtedly become food for the enemy. Afterwards, both armies counted their casualties. At this time, Qi Yu and Xin Tian noticed that the number of deaths of Wang Feng and his Hope Expeditionary Force was actually 0. The length of the battlefield front occupied by the Hope Expeditionary Force at that time was, judging from their advancing speed, their kills clearly exceeded their own. Although the number of soldiers in Haoshan's army was originally not as good as that of the Hope Expeditionary Force, the 0 casualties were obviously not due to numbers. Generally speaking, with a larger number of troops, although the results will be more brilliant, the casualties will also be greater. In particular, I hope that after the expeditionary force counts the numbers, the death rate will be 0, but the injury rate will be as high as 10%. In other words, during this war, at least 10,000 Hope Expeditionary Force soldiers suffered injuries of varying severity. Qi Yu and Xin Tian have never seen this kind of weird data, because their armies have always had similar proportions of killed and injured. Especially just now, in order to prove themselves in front of friendly forces, their killed ratio was actually higher. The proportion of injuries. Okay. I have the battlefield video here. You can take a good look at it later and you will know what the difference is between you. Fuxi said, and then nodded to Wang Feng. Wang Feng immediately took out the tents in the space and began to let the soldiers set up camp. Because they did not plan to withdraw their troops, of course they had to build their own camp first. After taking out the tents and some baggage and distributing them to the soldiers of the two armies, Wang remembered what Duanlei told him before, so he looked at Haoshan and Fuxi. I want to know, if we uproot the cosmic ghosts, the people on the original star, and wipe them out, what will be the consequences? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 883. What? After hearing Wang Feng's words, Haoshan and Fuxi were both subconsciously stunned, because it was already stipulated that the races living on the primitive star must not be destroyed. Therefore, neither these two people nor other races on the primitive star had ever thought of uprooting the strength of a race on this primitive star. Fuxi had told Wang Feng and the others that this was an unwritten rule on the primitive star, but in fact, the leaders of all races knew that this was not an unwritten rule. No unwritten rule would be so efficient. The maker of this rule was the mastermind behind the scenes. However, Fuxi didn't dare to tell them about this at the time, because the mastermind behind the scenes itself was the biggest secret on the primitive star. Wang Feng and the others were able to perceive it because they saw the endless tower directly when they entered the ancient passage, and the mastermind behind the scenes was too obvious at the time, and it was simply a bit unscrupulous. Not only the meticulous Duanlei could think of it, but even those ordinary soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force had already had doubts. This, let's get together and talk about it later. After looking at Haoshan, Fuxi said softly. Hearing Fuxi's words, Wang Feng did not force it, but he didn't need to intervene in the construction of the camp at all. Whether it was construction or command, it had nothing to do with Wang Feng. He was only good at fighting. Originally, when Fuxi said that everyone would gather together later, Wang Feng wanted to summon a small fighter directly from the Xianyuan space. The military officials here, in addition to him, Duanlei, Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan, Fuxi Haoshan, Qi Yu and Xin Tian. With so many people, a small fighter is enough. But after thinking about it, Wang Feng decided to forget it. They are not far from the territory of the cosmic ghost. If they see fighters on their side, they will be on guard if there are no fighters on the other side, which may lead to an escalation of the battle. Although Wang Feng doesn't care about this, the human race may not be the same, and Wang Feng doesn't want to cause trouble. Moreover, in today's battle, they hope that no one of the expeditionary forces died in the battle. Although there were many injured, most of the wounded can recover their combat effectiveness after a day of rest. Therefore, basically, in today's battle, it can be said that the Hope Expeditionary Force has no losses. If it can continue in this way, Wang Feng doesn't mind slowly grinding the cosmic ghost to death. Anyway, it is estimated that there are not many people left on the original star. In fact, Wang Feng doesn't have too many feelings about Dong Huangtai. Want to go to the Endless Tower? Wang Feng also wants to go. But he will definitely not be under the leadership of Dong Huangtai. The Hope Expeditionary Force is absolutely an independent army. It is impossible to accept any command that does not belong to the Atlantis Star people. Even if it is Li Yingning and Fuxi, they can only command them under the premise of not violating the orders of Wang Feng and Duan Lei. Therefore, Wang Feng actually wanted to get rid of the cosmic ghosts directly, because he didn't know if they could come back once they left the original star, or whether they would have a chance to come back. Wang Feng's character is not to take revenge. Soon, the camp was built. In fact, it was nothing more than building tents for living and cooking pots. There was no camp wall or fence, because the height of several meters was basically useless for both the human race and the cosmic ghosts. After the human camp was built, the cosmic ghosts did not come to provoke, but only strengthened the sentry. In the central tent of the human camp, Wang Feng, Fuxi, Duan Lei, Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan, and others were gathering with Haoshan and Qiyu and other human races from the original human star to discuss the battle situation. The first thing they discussed was not the complete destruction of the cosmic ghosts, because this matter could not be completely decided by the people in the tent alone. It was about the rules set by the mastermind behind the scenes, and they could not make a hasty decision. What they are discussing now is the fighting style of both sides. Because to be honest, the real combat power of the human army is not worse than that of the Hope Expeditionary Force, and it is even better. After all, this war determines the face of the human race on the original star. They can't hide their elites and only send out some old and weak soldiers because of fear of losses. However, the difference in the casualties between the two sides is too big, which makes Qiyu and Xintian unacceptable. One is the master of soldiers, the master of military strategists, and the other is the god of war, the god of war. And the army led by these two people actually lost to a ragtag army in their eyes. Although there is a difference in the number of people, everyone knows that the zero casualties of the Hope Expeditionary Force have absolutely nothing to do with the number of people. Therefore, after entering the tent, Qiyu and Xintian shouted that they wanted to watch the video of the battle. After watching the video, Qiyu and Xintian were silent because they didn't know how to evaluate this war. In fact, the way the Hope Expeditionary Force fights has overturned their concept of soldiers. What are soldiers? War machines. On the battlefield, they have no emotions, and they will kill any enemy. They cannot be afraid, and they cannot be weak. As long as they complete their mission, they will pay any price, no matter whether the price is blood or life. They can have tears. But it will never be shed on the battlefield. It will only be shed when the war is over, when you are burying the bodies of your comrades, when you are licking your wounds, when you are nostalgic for your love, and when you are missing your family. Only real soldiers can bear this kind of cruelty silently. Therefore, absolutely none of Qiyu and Xintian's subordinates would retreat during the war. They only knew that in which direction the enemy was, I had to charge in that direction. Until, end this war, or end your own life. It is precisely because of this that Qiyu and Xintian's armies did not have a war supervising team. Because they know that their soldiers will never retreat in the war. There can be no deserter. Coincidentally, there is no supervisory team in the Hope Expeditionary Force, because they can retreat during the war, and there are even soldiers who will be directly ordered by their superiors to withdraw from the battle during the war. This was absolutely unbelievable in the eyes of Qiyu and Xintian, and even Haoshan looked worried. During the battle, Haoshan noticed this situation. At that time, He asked angrily, why would any soldiers retreat on the battlefield? Even though he was injured. But being injured is definitely not a real reason for a soldier to retreat. There is only one legitimate reason for a soldier to retreat on the battlefield: he got an order from his superiors. Other than that, they are all deserters. However, Fuxi and Duanlei just smiled lightly and did not explain to him at that time. After watching the video, the shame on Qiyu and Xin Tian's faces disappeared and was replaced by anger. Shame. It is simply a shame to fight side by side with such soldiers. Who allowed them to retreat without an order? Deserters. They should all be shot. Xin Tian stood up, slapped the case, and cursed loudly. Who says they didn't get orders? Wang Feng and Duanlei were not surprised by Xin Tian's reaction. Duanlei asked with a smile. You got the order to retreat? When? I clearly saw that they retreated on their own initiative after they were injured. Xin Tian was stunned for a moment, and then became furious. He believes his eyes. Before the war begins. Duanlei said. I hope the expeditionary force will have a military rule: when you are injured and lose more than 40% of your combat power, you must withdraw into the military formation and let your subsequent comrades take up your place. Nonsense. This time, even Haoshan couldn't help but stand up. Did you know that with this military rule, once you encounter a powerful enemy, your army will collapse directly without even fighting? My army will not collapse. Wang Feng gently held down Tang Haoshan, who was about to stand up, and said calmly, but his words showed strong confidence. Military regulations are to withdraw people from the military formation. They are not asked to withdraw from the battle. Those who you just saw withdrawing from the battle were all ordered to withdraw from the battle because their condition was too bad. Duanlei also said. In addition, at the end of this military order, there is another most critical point: the following comrades will fill their positions. That is to say, when no comrades can fill their positions, or other comrades are in worse condition than them when the time comes, they won't take a step back. TCH. Just them. Xin Tian said with some disdain. Yes. It's up to them. It was Fuxi who spoke this time. Xin Tian. You will be ashamed of what you just said. Then, without saying a word, Fuxi directly released two more images. It was the Legion of Hope fighting fiercely with the cosmic ghosts in space near the space overlap point, and the fierce battle with the mutant insect army in the Endless Tower. The Hope Expeditionary Force. Qiyu, Xin Tian, and Emperor Haoshan stared at the screen with excitement. Especially when they saw those small fighter planes rushing towards the huge space battleship like moths to a flame, they couldn't bear it. He stood up and saluted solemnly. Do you think they are soldiers? Fuxi looked at Xin Tian, who was the most unconvinced before, and asked softly. You mean? Xin Tian looked at Fuxi and asked with a trembling voice. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 884. In the two battles you saw, all the people outside who you call deserters participated. Fuxi pointed to the outside of the tent and said. Especially fighting those insect armies, that is the only way for us to enter the primitive star. Duanlei said that the prerequisite for them to retreat during the battle is that there are comrades in better condition than him who can replace him location. If not, then they will definitely be able to fight to the end. Even I dare to guarantee for them that when they encounter an invincible enemy, if there is no order to retreat issued by Duanlei and others, they will definitely be able to fight to the last person. That's right. Duanlei also nodded and said. We all hope that the soldiers of the expeditionary force can do this. They retreat not because they are afraid of death, but because they need to recover so that they can kill more enemies. What is the purpose of soldiers on the battlefield? It is to kill the enemy. Whether it is a feint, detour, or other strategies, the ultimate goal is to kill the enemy. Annihilating the enemy's effective force is the purpose of war, because whether it is cold weapons or hot weapons, or even space battleships, they all need operators. Destroying warships or destroying enemy positions is not as practical as directly reducing the enemy's effective force. You may not understand our approach, but the actual situation is, in a battle like today, we hope that the expeditionary force can continue indefinitely, as long as there are sufficient supplies. But in less than 10 days, your entire army will be wiped out. After listening to Duan Lei and Fu 11's words, Hao Shen, Qi Yu and Xin Tian all fell into deep thought. No matter whether the three guys could accept what they said before, at least Duan Lei's last words shocked them greatly. Yes, although many people in the expeditionary force were injured in today's battle, with the physical fitness of their soldiers, they will almost be able to return to the battlefield tomorrow. Therefore, Duan Lei is not exaggerating at all. In a battle of the scale like yesterday, they hope expeditions can continue indefinitely. Of course, the cosmic ghost is not a fool. If this is really carried out, the scale of the war will definitely expand, but at least this comparison really shocked Hao Shen, Qi Yu and Xin Tian. Seeing that the scene was deserted, Wang Feng spoke. Actually, whether it's your people or ours, we are all humans. There is no need to distinguish too clearly. We are defensive types, and they are assault troops. They are equivalent to ancient sword and shield soldiers and cavalry. There is no comparison at all. Hearing Wang Feng's words, the embarrassment on the faces of Hao Shen and the others eased a bit. Although they also knew that Wang Feng's explanation was a bit far-fetched, it still saved them some face. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Duan Lei and Fu 11 were both stunned, and then looked at Wang Feng. This kind of words would be normal for Duan Lei to say it, but for Wang Feng. Lu Feng and Tang Haoshan obviously felt something was wrong, so they also looked at Wang Feng, waiting for his next words. As expected, Wang Feng bowed and said after smiling slightly. Since, we hope that the expeditionary force will be more suitable for fighting the cosmic ghosts, then, this war will be left to us. After hearing Wang Feng's words, Xin Tian and Qi Yu's expression suddenly changed. Is this a naked slap in the face? It was obvious that he looked down on their army, but after frowning, Hao Shen reached out to stop the two men's attack, looked at Wang Feng and said, "Keep talking. I think everyone knows where that unwritten rule comes from." Wang Feng said slowly. Furthermore, I have a guess that the time when the intelligent races appeared on the primitive star should be the same, right? For example, the time when the human race and the cosmic ghost were born should be basically the same, and, the intelligent races on the primitive star, the quantity should have never changed, right? Fuxi and Hao Shen looked at each other and then nodded, while Duan Lei on the side was also thoughtful. I remember when we were on Atlantis, we had a protection law to protect wild animals. Wang Feng continued. If any animal becomes endangered, we humans will reduce the number of their natural enemies to protect them. But that's to protect the ecology and not damage the food chain. Tang Haoshan was a little confused. We are also food for the ghosts of the universe, Wang Feng said. Moreover, the situation on the primordial star is different from ours. I am just using it as an analogy. I don't know why the primordial star was created, but I feel that the existence of the primordial star needs to maintain a certain degree of stability. Balance. At least that's what the guy who posted no genocide must be hoping for. And I don't like to be manipulated by others, so I still feel that we can challenge his bottom line. Does he want balance? Then let's break it. And the cosmic ghost is naturally the best target. Seeing Wang Feng's somewhat crazy expression, everyone present took a breath of air. Did you have this plan for a long time? Duan Lei asked. I didn't think so before, but when you said you were going to use the space ghost to delay Dong Huangtai, I suddenly thought of it. Wang Feng shook his head. Hao Shen frowned and thought for a while, then looked at Fuxi, who also had a troubled look on his face. For people like them who have the continuation of their race as their lifelong goal, they really can't make this decision. Don't worry. Third Master, this is why I said before that the battle against the cosmic ghost will be carried out by our Hope Expeditionary Force, because even if it fails, it is estimated that our Hope Expeditionary Force will bear the consequences, and the human race will not be extinct. Wang Feng smiled and said. After all, no race can be exterminated. It was said by him himself. He can't destroy a race by himself, right? So even if some punishment is really imposed, the most he can do is wipe out our entire Hope Expeditionary Force. That won't work either. Fuxi looked at Wang Feng. In his opinion, he hoped that other people in the expeditionary force could die, but Wang Feng was bound by the hope of the rise of the human race and must not die. But it was impossible for Wang Feng not to act with the Hope Expeditionary Force, so Fuxi directly expressed his opposition. Third Master. Do you think I am looking for death? Wang Feng is still smiling. If you remember correctly, that rule states that the race remaining in the original star cannot be exterminated, and the banner is that if this race is completely exterminated, their races outside will also die out. Right. So, if there is still a cosmic ghost alive on the original star, is it considered extinct? I'll go. Xin Tian suddenly jumped up and looked at Wang Feng in shock. That's right. Why didn't I think of that before? That rule doesn't seem to stipulate a quantity. Haoshan and others were also shocked. They, not even all the races on the original star, had ever thought of this. This is naturally because the intelligent creatures on the original star all know that there is such a mastermind behind the scenes. Of course, they will not call him that. They are all very afraid of this creature, and almost no one dares to say it directly. Therefore, naturally no race dares to take advantage of the rules he issued. Wang Feng and the others were not born and raised on the original star, so of course they had no fear of that guy and were even very resistant. But I guess even if we agree to this matter, Dong Huangtai will not agree. Haoshan shook his head slightly, he still felt that this matter was a bit unreliable. Ha 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 ha. Wang Feng suddenly laughed. We are not his subordinates. Although he is the great speaker of the human race, we have not recognized his identity. At least, we hope that the expeditionary force will not accept his jurisdiction, so we do not need his authority at all for this matter. Agree? Especially, we are avenging our relatives, friends, and even our planet. What reason does he have to stop us? I'm not even afraid of that thing, so why should I be afraid of him? Fuxi and Haoshan looked at each other, and then pondered for a long time. Wang Feng did not rush them. Anyway, the soldiers were preparing dinner and had to rest after eating. They had plenty of time. As for Qiyu and Xin Tian, they stared at Wang Feng with bright eyes, for no other reason than Wang Feng's heroic spirit just now, which suited these two people very well. In the human race, Qiyu and Xin Tian are both fearless masters. They don't care much about even the taboos of Dong Huang and others. They once wanted to go over and destroy a race that provoked them, but because Dong Huangtai and others tried to stop him, but failed. Now that I heard Wang Feng's words, I couldn't help but feel convinced, and even wanted to follow them. You too. Don't cause trouble here, go back and watch your army. Seeing the eager expressions of these two people, Haoshan couldn't help but feel a headache. Wang Feng hadn't settled it yet. Are they going to fight again? He couldn't help but lower his face and shouted. When the two heard Haoshan's words, they couldn't help but droop their heads and walked out of the tent listlessly. Xin Tian kept looking back, looking unwilling to do so. Then, we will withdraw our troops tomorrow and go back, but Dong Huangtai will definitely send someone to stop you. Haoshan looked at Fuxi and then said. Wang Feng was stunned, this is a trouble. What should I do if the Wei Dong Emperor Tai sends troops to stop it? Do you want to have a fight with the human race first? No. He can't stop it. At this time, a confident voice sounded. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 885. Everyone present immediately turned their heads and looked at Duanlei. The person who said this was naturally Duanlei. Because you don't know at all that we want to destroy all ghosts in the universe. Duanlei looked at Fuxi and Haoshan with a smile. As for the reason, it was naturally because there was a conflict between the soldiers of our two armies. Then you left angrily and left all the war with the cosmic ghost to us, so of course you don't know our battle plan. But, why do we have a conflict? Haoshan still doesn't understand. Because we are arrogant. Duanlei smiled and said. If I'm not wrong, God of War Xingtian should be a more impulsive person, right? If we have a more impulsive general here, then conflicts will easily happen. As for the trigger, of course it is the record of today's war. Duanlei said confidently. After a while, we will make arrangements, and then cause a small conflict in the military camp. Of course, we must suppress it, and then, we will do this. After a while, Haoshan walked out of the camp first, then found Qiyu and Xingtian who were eating and drinking around the campfire, whispered a few words quietly, and then left. The other soldiers did not notice anything strange. Haoshan is the highest military officer of the Human Legion. Of course, it is normal to arrange work for his subordinates. When they were almost done eating, Lu Feng and Tang Haoshan from the Hope Expeditionary Army came to the human side with a few bottles of wine and sat beside Qiyu and Xingtian's campfire. Come. Let's all drink together. Tang Haoshan shouted loudly. Seeing the wine in their hands, the eyes of the dozens of human officers around them couldn't help but shine. In the primitive star where resources are scarce, food can only be used for eating. Even if a small part is squeezed out to make wine, it is the enjoyment of the top human beings. And it's still limited. There is no need to say more about the attraction of wine to men. Xingtian immediately jumped up, grabbed a bottle, broke the mouth of the bottle, and took a big gulp. Ha 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 ha. So happy. Thanks. You're welcome. Come. Let's all drink together. Tang Haoshan threw a bottle of wine in his hand to everyone sitting around the campfire. It goes without saying that the identity of those who can sit with Xingtian and the others is obvious. Anyway, when Wang Feng entered the original star, he was in his mother's house. Xingchang asked Gao's Hixing for an unknown amount of wine. It was enough. It's just that the wine at Wang Feng's place is all white wine, and it's all high quality, because with their current strength, the energy in the wine is enough to replenish their physical strength, and the concentration of white wine is the highest, and of course the energy contained is only the largest and therefore the most practical. With the introduction of wine, these people quickly became familiar with each other, and soon they began to call each other brothers, chatting about everything from far and wide. But after a while, maybe because of the alcohol, they started to argue. It was okay at first, only Tang Haoshan and Xingtian were arguing with red faces, but soon other human officers joined in. In the end, even Lu Feng and Qiyu joined in, and Gui Weivong and others from the Hope Expeditionary Army saw that they were alone and weak, so they naturally rushed over to support them, and then the Human Legion also became more and more as more people join, the scale eventually grows. Later, seeing the chaos in the military camp, Fuxi and Haoshan took action. Duanlei and Wang Feng also came to stop the Hope Expeditionary Force, and finally suppress the conflict. However, early the next morning, the Human Legion of the Primordial Star actually set off and marched towards the human stronghold to break away from the battle. Among the Hope Expeditionary Force, only Duanlei and Wang Feng went to say goodbye, but after saying a few words to Fuxi and Haoshan, they returned to the military camp. As for the cosmic ghost on the opposite side, they did not move. Even when the human army camp clashed last night, the cosmic ghost did not take the opportunity to send troops. It seemed that they were frightened by the battle yesterday. After the human legion left, the Hope Expeditionary Army began to prepare breakfast. After breakfast, half of them were left in the military camp. The 50,000-strong army marched out of the camp and started a new day of fighting. When the Cosmic Ghosts saw the Hope Expeditionary Force dispatched, they naturally sent troops to greet them. However, seeing that they only had 50,000 troops, the Cosmic Ghost only dispatched an army of 60,000 troops. Obviously they did not want to expand the scale of the war. It's just because of yesterday's defeat that we have more troops. Wang Feng and Duan Lei did not go out with the army, but were discussing how to destroy all the ghosts in the universe. Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei and asked, "How to fight?" Wang Feng is confident about destroying the Cosmic Ghost, but he also knows that even if the human army evacuates, someone will definitely come to observe their battle situation. Once they find signs of destroying the Cosmic Ghost, they will definitely come to stop them. Duan Lei smiled. That's it? There are less than 1 million cosmic ghosts on the primordial star. Although all of them can be regarded as warriors, after all, these cosmic ghosts belong to the primordial star and rarely fight. It's nothing compared to those outside. When it's almost done, we will dispatch the Yanhuang directly, and then release small fighter planes. Before they and the human race can react, we will annihilate them all. Wang Feng was overjoyed. Haha. That's right. Just do it. In the next 2 days, the war continued like this. The loss of the Cosmic Ghost was more than 20,000 every day. As for the Hope Expeditionary Force, except for 3 soldiers who died outside the battlefield due to a surprise attack by the Cosmic Ghost, there is no more loss. Such a battle situation certainly made the higher UPS on the Cosmic Ghost side uneasy, because if this continued, their warriors would be exhausted sooner or later. Therefore, the Cosmic Ghost began to feel something was wrong. But they don't want to expand the scale of the war. There are 100,000 human troops in front. Although only 50,000 are put into the battlefield every day, once they increase their troops, the 50,000 human troops behind can also join the battle at any time. Especially the combat power of this human army made the senior leaders of Cosmic Ghost hesitate. They once thought of directly dispatching an army of hundreds of thousands, and then with lightning speed, they would eat up all the 100,000 human troops and deal a heavy blow to the human race. But if it succeeds, it's okay. What if it fails? If they fail to dispatch more than half of the Cosmic Ghosts, it will definitely be an unbearable loss for them. This is also the reason why Cosmic Ghost dare not make a desperate move, because these human races seem to look different from the previous human races. They are afraid of some ambush behind them, so the senior management of Cosmic Ghost have been quarreling. At this time, the top leaders of the human race were also quarreling. Haoshan and Fuxi had already returned to the territory of the human race. When they said that all their troops had evacuated, leaving only the Hope Expeditionary Force to fight against the Cosmic Ghosts, the top brass of the human race began to quarrel. First of all, of course, they wanted to question the reasons for the human race's withdrawal. Fuxi and Haoshan didn't explain much. They just showed them the video of the first day's battle. Then Haoshan said angrily, "Those new guys are too arrogant. Because we lost a lot of soldiers, but none of them were killed, they despised us and said that we are not good at fighting." Then Haoshan pointed at the screen. "But you have also seen it? What kind of fighting method do they use?" "Huh. A group of coward soldiers. They retreated when they were injured. Do they still have the appearance of soldiers? If our army hadn't been there to contain them, just by themselves, I'm afraid if the people in front retreat, the ghosts of the universe will come up. Such a team full of deserters actually had the nerve to accuse us?" Xin Tian had a bad temper, so he quarreled with them that night, which later triggered a large-scale conflict between the two armies. How can two armies that are in conflict fight side by side? And Wang Feng, the leader of the Hope Expeditionary Force, actually confidently told me that the space ghosts can fight on their own without our restraint. Okay. Since they want to fight, let them fight. It is estimated that they have been completely wiped out by now. After finishing speaking, Haoshan still looked angry and angry. Dong Huangtai looked at Fuxi, and Fuxi nodded slightly. Wang Feng doesn't look like such an arrogant person, does he? Dong Huangtai asked with a frown. Kindness. Fuxi nodded. Dong Huangtai had been distracted by Wang Feng for some time. Of course, Fuxi would not talk nonsense. However, you should also know that they hate the ghosts of the universe, so, I think he just wants to take the opportunity to drive us away and take revenge himself. Besides, you have seen their tactics, and they are indeed different from ours. It's hard for us to work together. The others haven't come back yet. Dong Huangtai asked. Well, we too came back first, they are behind. Fuxi nodded. Then let's wait until they come back before making a decision. Dong Huangtai. Fuxi also nodded. He knew that Dong Huangtai could not just believe what he and Haoshan said. He would not make a decision until the people he had placed in the army reported. Of course Dong Huangtai will place his own spies in the army, and they can't remove these spies yet. This is why they have to put on a show before, in fact, just to show those spies. I think, there's no need to wait for those people to come back, we can make a decision now. One man stood up and said. Since they are so crazy, let them fight on their own. Besides, according to their fighting style, they are probably all wiped out now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 886. Hearing the voice, everyone looked over and saw that the person who spoke was just an ordinary high-ranking member of the human race. Although his status was not low in the entire human race, his status in this meeting could only be considered lower middle. After seeing the person who spoke, Fuxi and Haoshan looked at each other and then remained calm, but they were a little anxious in their hearts. Because this person was still from their side, and now his attitude towards the Hope Expeditionary Force was obviously not very good, and his attitude, I am afraid, also represents the attitude of most of the high-ranking members of the human race. However, Fuxi and Haoshan had no choice but to help Wang Feng conceal their battle plan to completely destroy the universe ghosts, so they could only act now, and even Haoshan himself had to pretend to be dissatisfied with the Hope Expeditionary Force. Following this person's words, the others present also echoed. That's right. Then just ignore them. Well, not only did they come back to the primordial star without bringing back any resources, but they also helped us get into trouble. Yeah. I heard from them that they were bullied badly by the cosmic ghosts outside. I sympathized with them earlier and supported them in attacking the cosmic ghosts. I shouldn't have cared about them if I had known. All right? Stop talking. Dong Huangtai suddenly spoke, and then turned to Haoshan. Did you leave a scout there? Haoshan shook his head and said. No. Because I was very angry when I left, I didn't intend to care about their life or death, and of course I wouldn't leave anyone behind. Moreover, if I left anyone behind, if they found out, they might think we were monitoring them, which would be a thankless task. Dong Huangtai nodded. Then forget it for now, let's all disperse first, and wait until the troops come back. So, the matter about the Hope Expeditionary Force was temporarily put aside by the human race. And the war of the Hope Expeditionary Force is of course still going on, but the scale of the war has inevitably escalated. Because in these days of war, the cosmic ghosts can no longer hold on, they have realized that the war launched by the human race this time does not seem to be as simple as they imagined. Of course, the cosmic ghosts did not think that the human race would want to destroy them all, because this kind of thing is a taboo on the original star, and no race dares to break this taboo. What they thought in their hearts was that the human race might come specifically to weaken their strength this time, so they would attack endlessly. Now, the universe ghost has lost nearly 100,000 people, while the loss of the human race is less than 10,000, and this is combined with the data from the first day. In fact, the total number of soldiers lost by the Hope Expeditionary Force is less than 1,000. This is because the universe ghost has changed its tactics in the past few days. Every time it attacks, it seems to have sent out a death squad, attacking the soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force desperately. In addition, the number of troops they sent out has reached 200,000. Even if all the Hope Expeditionary Forces are dispatched, the number of troops is less than half of the universe ghost. Therefore, now except for Duan Lei and his Thunderstorm squad, all the Hope Expeditionary Forces have been dispatched. Even Wang Feng has entered the battlefield and is constantly supporting his own soldiers with bows and arrows. In this kind of group battle, Wang Feng's rain of arrows can be called a killer. Although these ordinary arrows can rarely kill the universe ghost, the interference effect is indeed huge. The cosmic ghosts shot by arrows are the favorite prey of the soldiers of the Hope Expedition Army. They also know that the injured cosmic ghosts can only recover with life energy replenishment, so of course they will not let them evacuate the battlefield safely. Moreover, the cosmic ghosts seem to have been given death orders, and they were completely crazy and fought against them to the death. The cosmic ghosts even sent out 2 times, a total of 3 small fighters, to try to get rid of Wang Feng behind, but all returned in vain, and lost 2 small fighters. Wang Feng is not only good at close combat, but also can fly. The small fighters of the cosmic ghosts can certainly not withstand the edge of the Xianyuan sword. Such a war lasted for about 8 days, and the cosmic ghosts had lost 250,000 troops, close to a quarter of the total number of cosmic ghosts on the original star. Just when Wang Feng and Duan Lei guessed that the cosmic ghosts might change their tactics and directly swarm out to confront them with superior forces, the battle situation suddenly changed in a way that they did not expect. Originally, Wang Feng thought that when the casualties reached more than 200,000, the cosmic ghosts would definitely start to prepare to come out in full force, because if this continued, even a fool could imagine that it was only a matter of time before the cosmic ghosts were completely wiped out, which could be seen from the casualty ratio of the soldiers on both sides. And this is exactly what they hope for. Once this situation occurs, the cosmic ghosts come out in full force, and Duan Lei will directly lead the Thunderstorm squad into the battlefield and then launch a thunderstorm. While Duan Lei launches the thunderstorm, Wang Feng will immediately summon the Yanhuang, and all the soldiers will board the ship, taking advantage of the chaos created by Duan Lei's thunderstorm and the other members of the Thunderstorm squad to immediately enter the small fighter. In this way, the Cosmic Ghost's army of hundreds of thousands will probably not last long, and will definitely be destroyed by the Hope Expeditionary Force, venting the anger of the destruction of their own planet. However, at the beginning of the war that day, Wang Feng, Duan Lei, and others were stunned by the Cosmic Ghost's army, because looking at the team on the opposite side, it seemed, only about 30,000 in size. What does this mean? Tang Haoshan asked, because a battle of this scale is quite unwise for the Cosmic Ghost. In terms of the cooperation of the Hope Expeditionary Force, the smaller the scale of the battle, the more beneficial it is to them. On the contrary, it is a large-scale melee, which may let the Hope Expeditionary Force suffer losses. Duan Lei also frowned, but he couldn't figure out what the Universe Ghost was doing. Ignore him. Attack first. Then how many troops should we send? Lu Feng asked. We will pay as much as they pay. Let's take a look at the situation first. Wang Feng looked at the Cosmic Ghost army opposite and replied. Any ideas? Seeing Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan, and others leading troops to fight against the Cosmic Ghost, Wang Feng turned to look at Duan Lei and asked, because the scale of the battle was so small, Wang Feng was not prepared to go to the battlefield himself. Have no idea. Duan Lei shook his head slowly. The moment the soldiers from both sides came into contact, the situation made Wang Feng and others confused for a moment. The cosmic ghost changed from its frenzied fighting in the past few days. Even if it meant death, it had to rely on the strength of the soldiers to join them, and actually adopted a very conservative approach. Fighting style. In this way, although their death rate began to decrease, the damage they caused to the Hope Expeditionary Force was also quite limited. It could even be said that they were just here to deliver food. In this day's battle, the Cosmic Ghost lost more than 20,000 people, while no one from the Hope Expeditionary Force was killed at all, and even the proportion of injuries was only about 5%. After this situation lasted for 3 days, Wang Feng couldn't sit still. What the hell are they doing? If this continues, there won't be enough people in the universe ghost to survive for a month. The total number of cosmic ghosts is less than 1 million. After so many days of consumption, more than 300,000 have died in the hands of the Hope Expeditionary Army. If this continues, they will be exterminated by the Hope Expeditionary Army in less than a month. Could it be that the cosmic ghost is short-sighted? If they want to fight like this, they might as well just go out in full force. At least they still have hope of winning? At least, the cosmic ghost definitely doesn't know about the existence of Yan Huang. How can he not have the courage to fight to the death? Wrong. Duan Lei looked at the battlefield and was silent for a long time. Suddenly his eyes lit up, as if he thought of something. They are stalling for time. Delaying for time. Wang Feng was stunned. What's the use of that? Is it different or dead? Uncertain. Duan Lei smiled and then looked at Wang Feng. Have you forgotten? Outside of the primordial star, there are huge groups of cosmic ghosts. Could it be that they can't come back to support? Duan Lei was right. In fact, as early as 4 days ago, the cosmic ghosts had planned to come out in full force and fight Wang Feng and the others to the death. They also knew that if they did not change, they might be exterminated. They have already seen that the human race on the opposite side probably does not just want to weaken their power in the original star. Of course they are aware of the grievances between the human race and the cosmic ghosts outside the original star. Because the cosmic ghost is actually very ambitious. Although their tribesmen in the primordial star seem to be very honest and do not provoke wars, this is just because they want to kill all the races and tribesmen who sent the primordial star first. Cut off their supply to the original star, and then come to rule the entire original star. And when the cosmic ghost wanted to issue an order, by coincidence, the cosmic ghost supply team from outside arrived. Because of the special food of the cosmic ghosts, the cosmic ghosts on the primitive star basically rely on the outside tribesmen for supplies, because there are not that many creatures on the primitive star for them to use as food. After the supply team learned of the current situation, they quickly changed their plans. These cosmic ghosts who have been fighting every day these days are actually stalling for time, as Duan Lei said. The smaller the scale of the war, the more time it will naturally drag on. As for the supply team, they have left the primordial star to summon the cosmic ghosts from the outside world, gather all the fleets, and prepare to support the primordial star and completely annihilate the human race. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 887. Hearing Duan Lei's words, Wang Feng couldn't help but squint his eyes and look at the territory of the cosmic ghost, and then raised the corner of his mouth slightly. That means, we'll have more cosmic ghosts to kill soon. That's right. But, what are you going to do now? Duan Lei nodded, then looked at Wang Feng and asked. Haha. What the enemy wants is what we want to destroy. Wang Feng laughed and said. Since they want to delay, then, we won't give them this opportunity to delay. At this time, there are also new changes at the human base. The human troops that set out with the Hope Expeditionary Force had naturally returned to the human base long ago, and Dong Huangtai had already seen the informants he had placed in this army and understood the whole story. Of course, what Dong Huangtai learned from these informants was no different from what Haoshan told him, so he did not make any new decisions. For Dong Huangtai, the most important thing now is to take the human race to the Endless Tower, and everything else can be put aside. Therefore, Dong Huangtai once again held a high-level meeting of the human race. Everyone. Since we are no longer planning to participate in the battle between the newly arrived humans and the cosmic ghosts, that means that this war is basically the same as those of us humans who originally stayed on the original star. It doesn't matter anymore. When all the people who were qualified to participate in this meeting arrived, Dong Huangtai was the first to speak. So, I think that our human race's trip to the Endless Tower should be put on the agenda. To recreate the glory of our human race, we must climb to the top of the Endless Tower and control the entire original star. Fuxi and Haoshan looked at each other, and then Haoshan spoke directly. But, we humans can't go out in full force. There must be humans on the primitive star. This is the rule on the primitive star. Moreover, the number of people we keep must not be too few, because if there are fewer, the status of the human race in the original star is even lower. Besides, Fuxi also stood up at this time and said, I have entered the Endless Tower. The number of people inside is useless, Dong Huang. You were also distracted at the time, and you should have seen the army of insects in the Endless Tower. No matter how many people there are, it is useless, it's useless. If you want to climb the Endless Tower, you can't rely on quantity, but on quality. So, I don't object to our human race trying to climb to the top of the Endless Tower. However, if the whole clan goes out, I think it is not necessary. It may be more appropriate to form an elite team and set off to the Endless Tower. You are wrong. Dong Huangtai immediately shook his head and said, in fact, he also understood in his heart that what Fuxi said made sense. But as a prophet, although he does not have such keen premonitions due to his incomplete soul, he still has some predictive abilities after all. He just knew that if he wanted to climb to the top of the Endless Tower, he would have to devote all his efforts to it. It would definitely be impossible for an elite team. As for why he had this premonition, he himself didn't know. Therefore, he must try his best to promote the expedition of the entire human race. Fuxi. I know you are suspicious of me, whether it is because of the deaths of Sheneng and Xianyuan, or for other reasons, but it is related to the future of our human race. You should not mix your personal emotions. Dong Huangtai looked at Fuxi with regret on his face. We are all the controllers of the human race. What we think in our hearts is the interests of our entire race instead of ourselves. Do you think I don't want to stay here? Although our current status as a human race is not high, as a prophet of the human race, my personal life is still okay, right? At least, I have no worries about food and clothing, and because of the rules of the original star, my life will not be in danger. If this life continues, there is nothing wrong with me. But since we are sitting in this position, we cannot just be satisfied with the status quo. You and I have witnessed the glory of our human race with our own eyes. Don't you want to see that kind of grand occasion again? I admit it. It is indeed dangerous for the whole family to go on an expedition to the Endless Tower. But at least we still have a chance to regain the glory of our human race. Dong Huangtai turned around and looked at everyone present. Could it be that? You just hope that our human race, a race that was once extremely glorious, will continue to live like this, half dead, with little food and clothing. People live. They must have goals. They must have hope. But tell me now. What is the goal of our human race? Where is our hope? Even in this war between us humans and the cosmic ghosts, our army is looked down upon by the new humans, and they don't even need the cooperation of our army. In their eyes, we are not only not a help, but a stumbling block and a drag. Such a thing. Can you all tolerate it forever? We are human beings, not cowards. Hearing Fuchsie's words, the other humans present couldn't help but look a little excited, and then many of them looked thoughtful. It seems that he was moved by Dong Huangtai's words. Yes, the human race is a proud race, but now, it has fallen to the point where even the same race that left before are looked down upon. Such a thing will indeed make many people feel unwilling. Seeing this situation, Fuxi and Haoshen's hearts sank. Fuxi did not expect that Dong Huangtai would be so anxious, nor did he expect that the strategy he had discussed with Wang Feng would actually come true for Dong Huangtai. The war with the cosmic ghost, not only did not become an obstacle to Dong Huangtai's expedition to the Endless Tower, but it became an opportunity for him. With the help of the incident of the Hope Expeditionary Army falling out with the human army, he directly proposed the expedition to the Endless Tower. Especially, looking at the situation of everyone present, Fuxi knew that he could no longer object, because Dong Huangtai's words this time were very clever, and he had pointed out his suspicions about him before. Then he relied on the great cause of the rise of the human race to suppress himself. No matter what he and Haoshen say now, it is of no use. The expedition to the Endless Tower is already imperative for the human race. Dong Huangtai. Do we really leave no one behind? Fuxi looked at Dong Huangtai and asked solemnly. I have sent out a reconnaissance plane before to check out the territory of the Space Ghost. Not to mention that Hope Expeditionary Force is really good. Upon hearing Fuxi's question, Dong Huangtai smiled softly and said, they are now fighting the cosmic ghost vigorously, and the personnel losses are not heavy. I know. Your concern is simply that after all the humans from the original star leave, our race may gradually become extinct, but... Dong Huangtai looked at the people around him again, with a very excited expression on his face. Don't you think? The return of the Hope Expeditionary Force will bring a great opportunity for the rise of our human race. My consciousness clone was attached to the leader of the Hope Expeditionary Force before. Therefore, I know where our human race's mother planet in the outside world is, and there is chaos energy in the ancient secret realm. In other words, the ancient road also belongs to the scope of the original star. The Hope Expeditionary Army will definitely not be destroyed by the cosmic ghost in a short period of time, and this time is our opportunity to leave the original star, go to the mother star, enter the ancient secret realm, and enter the Endless Tower. So, we must hurry up now, because even if we leave as a whole, our human race still exists on the original star. Although we are at odds with the Hope Expeditionary Force, they are still human race after all. As long as they are still on the primordial star, then our human race will not be exterminated on the primordial star, and the curse will not befall us. And when we enter the ancient secret realm, it will be part of the primordial star. We naturally, the human race will not get that curse. Now, such good conditions have been placed in front of us. Are you still hesitating? I have already had a premonition that the time for our human race to rise is right in front of us. Regardless of whether you agree or not, even if it's just me, I will definitely leave Primordial Star, go to the Endless Tower and rebuild the glory of the human race. Speaking of this, Dong Huangtai held his head high and his face shone with a fearless light, which moved everyone present. I will go with the great prophet. No matter life or death, for the glory of the human race. I admit it. I'll go too. The great prophet has already made a prophecy. What are we afraid of? Yes. Humans are not afraid of death. I'll go too. This kind of day. I've had enough. Looking at the excited crowd, Dong Huangtai looked at Fuxi again, with a strange smile on his face. Call. Fuxi glanced at Haoshen, let out a sigh of relief, and then suddenly said loudly. Quiet. After hearing Fuxi's words, the venue gradually became quiet. After all, he is one of the 3 emperors of the human race. Even if he has been away for tens of thousands of years, Fuxi still has a certain prestige in the human race. Even Dong Huangtai looked at Fuxi quietly, not knowing what he wanted to say. Anyway, he has now used the Hope Expeditionary Force to almost finalize the expedition to the Endless Tower. No matter how powerful Fuxi is, it's impossible to turn the tide. Seeing that everyone was quiet, Fuxi said, "Everyone, report." Just as Fuxi opened his mouth, a shout suddenly came from outside, and then a man broke in and said loudly to Dong Huangtai, "I hope that the battlefield between the Expeditionary Force and the Cosmic Ghost will undergo a major reversal." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 888. This voice immediately attracted the attention of everyone present, but the person who made this voice was just a messenger from the human race. This guy was busy conveying the news, but he didn't expect that there were so many giants of the human race in the field. Seeing so many people looking at him at this moment, he couldn't help but sweat profusely, and he was stunned there, speechless for a moment. "Tell me, what happened on the front line?" Seeing the look on the messenger's face, Fu 11 said gently. The messenger was reminded by Fu 11, and then he remembered his duty. He couldn't help but glance at Fu 11 gratefully, then stood at attention and said loudly, "Report. A major change has occurred on the battlefield between the Cosmic Ghost and our human army. The Cosmic Ghost has received reinforcements and dispatched tens of thousands of small fighter planes to join the war. Now all members of the Hope Expeditionary Force have joined the battle." "What? I'll go. Tens of thousands of small fighter planes. Where does the Space Ghost get its resources?" "That's right. With this, the Hope Expeditionary Force will probably be wiped out soon, right? Small fighters are already on the scene, how can they stop them? The key is, we started this war. Once the Hope Expeditionary Force is wiped out, the Space Ghost will definitely not give up and will directly attack our human base." "That's right. Damn it. We're in big trouble now, hurry up. Launch a war warning, and the human race will enter a state of war immediately. Damn it. This time I was killed by that idiot Hope Expeditionary Force. Not only did he not bring us any resources when he came back, he actually caused us a huge trouble. Hurry. Issue a war warning, everyone is on alert." The words of the messenger immediately caused confusion among the high-level human beings present, and many of them looked horrified. Looking at these people, Fuxi's face was full of sadness. He could not have imagined that after leaving the human race for tens of thousands of years, the human race would actually become like this. Even before the cosmic ghosts came to the door, they were already in such chaos. If the cosmic ghost army invaded the area, Fuxi couldn't imagine what these people would become. Haoshan was not too panicked. Although Haoshan did not understand the strength of the Hope Expeditionary Army like Fuxi, he saw that Fuxi was so calm and knew that the Hope Expeditionary Army was not that simple. Of course Fuxi wouldn't worry about the Hope Expeditionary Force, which only has 10,000 small fighters. Fuxi knew clearly that not to mention small fighters, even Yan Huang and Wang Feng had not used them yet. There were only 10,000 small fighters. If Wang Feng and the others were, if you want to destroy it, it only takes a matter of minutes. Seeing the calm look on Fuxi's face, Dong Huangtai spoke directly. "Everyone be quiet." Dong Huangtai also knows the strength of the Hope Expeditionary Force. He knows that there are Yan Huang and millions of small fighter planes in Wang Feng's Xianyuan space. The strength of the Cosmic Ghost will not be placed at all by the Hope Expeditionary Force. In eyes. Although due to the limited number of people, Wang Feng and the others could only dispatch about 100,000 small fighters at one time, but just like this, it was definitely not something that the 10,000 small fighters of the Cosmic Ghost could stop. Now what Dong Huangtai is concerned about is where the Cosmic Ghost came from so many resources, which enabled them to dispatch 10,000 small fighter planes at once. You know, judging from the resource storage of the tribesmen left behind by the cosmic ghost on the original star, dispatching 10,000 small fighter planes this time will undoubtedly deplete the energy reserves of the cosmic ghost. What do they want to do? Are you ready to go all out and have a direct fight to the death with the human race? Hearing Dong Huangtai's voice, the senior human race officials below gradually became quiet. They all stared at Dong Huangtai, wanting to see what kind of orders Dong Huangtai would issue. Keep talking. Dong Huangtai did not issue any orders. Instead, he looked at the messenger and nodded. Yes. The messenger stood at attention and then said. After the Space Ghost dispatched its fighter planes, the Hope Expeditionary Force immediately withdrew its troops. We originally thought that the Hope Expeditionary Force would be defeated. However, they suddenly produced a space battleship from nowhere, and there were also 50,000 or 60,000 small fighters coming from the universe. The 10,000 small fighters surged out of the battleships and directly annihilated the Space Ghost. The Hope Expeditionary Force suffered very few fighter losses. Only about 4 or 5 were shot down during the battle. The pilots also successfully jumped out of the aircraft and were not killed. What? Do you want the Expeditionary Force to be so awesome? 50,000 to 60,000 small fighters? And space battleships? Holy shit. These guys are so careless. They have energy that can supply tens of thousands of small fighters, but they don't give it to us at all. That's right. That's so stingy. No, call them back quickly. Energy can't be wasted like this. It should be stored for later use. Yes, yes. Call them back quickly, don't waste any more energy. Great prophet. Immediately issue an order to have the Hope Expeditionary Force come back as soon as possible. How can energy be so wasted? What a waste. Listening to the discussion of the top human race officials, the sad look on Fuchsie's face became even worse. He could not have imagined that after learning the news about the small fighter planes that hoped that the Expeditionary Force would wipe out all the cosmic ghosts, these high-level human race officials would actually react like this. Not only was it not inspired by its own glorious achievements, but it directly began to covet the energy of the Hope Expeditionary Force. When did it start? Can the human race degenerate to this extent? Is this still, the three emperors of the human race that they wanted to protect at all costs? Shut up. Dong Huangtai shouted loudly. Can't you just let this messenger finish his sentence completely? Seeing Dong Huangtai lose his temper, the senior human race officials were silent and all looked at the messengers. Only then did they remember that it seemed that the messengers had not finished speaking before they were interrupted by them. The messenger saw the eyes of all the high-ranking human beings present focused on him, and suddenly stood at attention, and then said in a proud tone. After the 10,000 small fighter planes of Cosmic Ghost were destroyed, small fighters continued to fly out from their base and join the battlefield. However, because they all joined one after another, it was difficult to form a large scale. Therefore, there has been suppressed by the Hope Expeditionary Force. Now, the Hope Expeditionary Force has entered the base camp of the Space Ghost and is using fighter planes to massacre the tribesmen of the Space Ghost. However, the space battleship did not join the battle. Instead, it increased its height, as if it was waiting for something. Wait. Hao Shen frowned, then looked at Fuxi and Dong Huangtai. What are they waiting for? Waiting for the space battleship of the Space Ghost. Fuxi opened his mouth and said. Cosmic Ghost has developed quite strongly outside of the original star. As far as I know, they should have at least 10 space fleets. Each fleet has 5,000 to 6,000 space battleships of varying sizes. Maybe it's because the portal of the ancient road is too small for space battleships to pass through. Therefore, they first sent small fighters back to support. As for the large space battleships, I don't know how they can return to the original star. Having said this, Fuxi looked at Dong Huangtai. I remember, the only way to return to the original star is through the ancient passage, right? Could they find another way and directly drive the space battleship back to the original star? Impossible. Dong Huangtai shook his head. The only way to return to the original star is through the ancient passage. There is no other way. Therefore, it is impossible for the space battleship of the cosmic ghost to enter the original star. Only. Dong Huangtai's eyes flashed. Who said that there are no space battleships on the original star because the cosmic ghost is on it? What they lack is just energy. Our human race now has dozens of space battleships like the Yanhuang. The race of the cosmic ghost, before the resources are exhausted, their strength is no worse than ours. Don't they have any background? If the space ghost can get a supply of resources and dispatch the space battleship that they have been hiding due to energy problems, the Hope Expeditionary Force probably won't be their opponent. Even if the space ghost only dispatches a few space battleships, the Hope Expeditionary Force is unlikely to be able to defeat them. You and I both know that Wang Feng and the others only have one space battleship, the Yanhuang. I'm not that pessimistic. Fuxi looked at Dong Huangtai and smiled. Even if the space ghost has received supplies and can dispatch large space battleships, after all, they must consider the issue of proficiency. The cosmic ghosts on the original star have not fought in space battleships for too long. This cannot be adapted to in a day or two. Furthermore, it is unlikely that the commanders of the space battleships with the cosmic ghost outside would abandon their own battleships and enter the primordial star directly from the ancient passage to command the space battleships of the primordial star. Even if they think about it, will the cosmic ghosts of the original star give them power? The struggle for power should exist no matter which race they are in, right? Hearing what Fu 11 seemed to mean, Dong Huangtai's eyes flickered, and then he stopped looking at Fu 11 and looked directly at the messenger. Are there any of our people on the other side of the battlefield? Some. The messenger said. We dispatched a total of 5 small fighters to monitor this war. There are still 4 small fighters monitoring over there, and they can transmit the situation on the battlefield back here at any time. I just came to tell the great prophet that it can be turned on communication with the small fighter plane. Day. When Dong Huangtai heard what the messenger said, he couldn't help but cursed. The scene seen by the small fighter plane can be transmitted back in real time. However, due to energy problems, the human race has not turned on the communication device for a long time. If they don't turn it on, of course there is no way to receive the signal sent back by the small fighter plane. Therefore, the messenger will run back directly and tell them that this is too ridiculous. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 889. Crack. A clever human race executive ran over without Dong Huangtai opening a word and pressed a button. Immediately, the scene of the Hope Expeditionary Army fighting the cosmic ghost appeared in front of them. They watched the Hope Expeditionary Army in the Endless Tower. On the battle screen. Seeing the scene on the screen, everyone in the human race, except Fuxi, was stunned. How long? Have they never seen such a grand war scene? Countless small fighter planes are flying all over the sky, and energy beams are continuously shot from the energy cannons of these small fighters. The base of the cosmic ghost has become riddled with holes and was almost reduced to ruins. However, deep in the base of cosmic ghost, there are still a steady stream of small fighter planes flying out to join this huge war. It is precisely because of this that the base of Cosmic Ghost has persisted until now and has not been destroyed. I hope the expeditionary force is completely destroyed. Wang Feng and the others didn't seem to be in a hurry, because those small fighters were joining the battlefield one after another. It seemed that because the portal was too small, they could only enter one by one, so they could not form a scale at all. In this way, it was almost impossible. It became a food delivery. But now the Hope Expeditionary Force has invaded the Cosmic Ghost Station, so these cosmic ghosts who have just arrived at the original star through the portal have no time to form a team. They have to enter the battlefield as soon as they fly out of the portal. Now, all members of the Hope Expeditionary Force have boarded the Yanhuang and entered small fighter planes. Since the scale of the war has expanded, Wang Feng no longer hides and tucks in. Anyway, the Yanhuang has been exposed, so let's just have a big fight. Bar. Wang Feng now plans to directly destroy the Cosmic Ghost, and all the Hope Expeditionary Force have the same idea. After all, the trauma that the Cosmic Ghost has brought to them is too great, and the hatred for the Cosmic Ghost in their hearts is really not the slightest. Since the fighter planes of the Cosmic Ghost join the battlefield one after another, they could not compete with the fighters of the Hope Expeditionary Force in terms of numbers. Not to mention, Wang Feng was still staring at the battlefield closely on the Yanhuang, and the shield was still on. State. Because there are too many of them, I hope that the small fighter planes of the Expeditionary Force will occasionally be hit by the Space Ghost fighter planes. However, Wang Feng has already given the order, and the fighter planes can be damaged at will. Anyway, there are too many of them, but it is not possible. The human race, there are still a large number of fighters in the base, but they have been sealed due to lack of resources. Therefore, although the Hope Expeditionary Force was also shot down hundreds of small fighters in this battle, the real loss of personnel was very small, less than double digits. Only those soldiers who were directly destroyed and did not even have a chance to jump out of the plane. The aircraft will be destroyed and people will be killed. Others will jump out of the aircraft at the moment when the fighter plane is hit, and then be picked up by one's own fighter plane. Therefore, the current strength of the Hope Expeditionary Army is still close to 100,000. The war with the Cosmic Ghost has not damaged the Hope Expeditionary Army. They still maintain a strong combat power. The Cosmic Ghost is also very depressed now. They have contacted the tribesmen outside, and those tribesmen have also embarked on the return journey to support them, but the problem is that the portal leading to the ancient road is too small. Small fighter planes can barely enter, but it is impossible for a huge space battleship to enter the ancient secret realm through the portal. This means that the huge number of space battleships they have outside cannot return to the primordial star to support them. They can only allow the small fighter planes they carry to continuously enter the portal to support the people of the primordial star. And even small fighters can only pass through the portal one by one, so the speed will naturally be quite slow. Outside the portal, countless large and small space battleships and densely packed small fighters are gathered. Outside the home star of the Cosmic Ghost, waiting to enter the ancient secret realm and support the original star. It's just that this speed now makes the Cosmic Ghost quite painful. They have already learned from the supply team that the people on the original star are being attacked by the human race, and they also know who the wave of human beings are attacking them. For Wang Feng and the others, the Cosmic Ghost was quite impressed. After all, their own space fleet was almost destroyed in their hands, so they also knew the combat power of Wang Feng and the others. However, they still don't know that the war situation on the original star is far worse than they imagined. Wang Feng and the others had previously speculated that there should be large space battleships in the base of the Cosmic Ghost, but the actual situation is that there are not even small fighters in the base of the Cosmic Ghost. Because they wanted to expand vigorously outside, Cosmic Ghost sent all their space battleships outside. In the base of the original star, they did not even leave a single space battleship. Because of the rule that the race cannot be exterminated, the Cosmic Ghost did not leave any backup in the original star. They never thought that the human race would be so crazy that they would even dare to break the rules of the Founder. The Founder is the intelligent race on the primitive star, the name given to the creature that created the primitive star. Because the portal is one way, These tribesmen outside the original star of the cosmic ghost do not know that what they are doing now is actually a fueling tactic. Now, the Hope Expeditionary Force has occupied most of the territory of the cosmic ghost on the original star, including the portal to the outside world. Those cosmic ghosts who entered the original star through the portal were directly killed by the fighter planes of the Hope Expeditionary Force gathered outside the portal before they had time to see the surrounding situation clearly when they flew out of the portal. There was no time to react. As for the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost base, the war is still continuing. Although the Cosmic Ghost has pulled out all the space battleships, they still have a hand at the headquarters of the original star. Now, in a huge building in the northeast corner of the Cosmic Ghost base, all the cosmic ghosts of the original stars are gathered there to resist the attack of the Hope Expeditionary Force. This is a fortress built by the Space Ghost with all its efforts. Not only is it quite strong, but its defense facilities are also quite advanced. The protective shield covering the outer layer of the building, not even the main gun on the Yanhuang, was able to break it. At this time, the Yanhuang was in front of this building, and the large and small naval guns on the battleship were constantly piling fire on this cosmic ghost's last barrier on the original star. Damn it! It's just like a turtle shell. Looking at the protective shield that was constantly shaking under the attack of the artillery fire in front of him, but still strong, Gui Wuivong cursed loudly. Don't worry. Just fight like this. Lu Feng looked at the shield and smiled softly. Although their shield is good, it also consumes energy, right? As the war continues, the two sides are actually fighting for their resources. Whoever has more resources will be able to persist to the end. Besides, Lu Feng turned around and pointed at the portal, looking at the Space Ghost's small fighter that was still flying out of the portal like a moth to a flame. They have quite a few troops outside. I guess at this rate, it will be enough for them to come here for a year or two. That's true. Now that the portal is under our control, everyone who comes will die. Try to destroy as many as possible. That way, when we go out, it won't be so difficult to destroy them. Tang Haoshan also looked back at the portal. At this moment, a small fighter plane that had just flown out of the portal was directly shattered and turned into dust under the gunfire of the Hope Expeditionary Force. Are they trying to exterminate the universe ghosts? At this time, the progress of the war was finally transmitted to the human base by several small fighter planes around. Looking at the picture on the big screen, a senior human official said in a trembling voice. Yes. They have now attacked the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost. Once the energy of the shield is exhausted, the Hope Expeditionary Force will definitely not stop. They want to wipe out the Cosmic Ghost. Another senior human race official received the call and then looked at Dong Huangtai and Fuxi. Do they even dare to break the Founder's rules? God, this will affect our entire human race. We must stop them. Prevent. Dong Huangtai looked at the picture on the big screen and frowned. I know their hatred for the Space Ghost. It's probably impossible to stop them. Look. They even revealed the Yanhuang number. This is their biggest trump card. I even think that they actually entered the original star to destroy the ghost of the universe. Then what should we do? Once they wipe out the cosmic ghosts and the Founder turns their anger on us, aren't we doomed? A senior human race official said in horror. Won't. Fuxi said calmly at this time, with a calm expression on his face. They are the new human race, and we were not involved in what they did. Moreover, all intelligent races on the original star cannot be exterminated. This is a rule set by the Founder himself. He can never break this balance by himself. So, even if they are to be punished, it should be on them, and we will not be included in it. Besides, there are cosmic ghosts coming out of the portal constantly. As long as there is a cosmic ghost on the original star, they will be punished. It can't be considered as being exterminated, right? After hearing Fuxi's words, everyone present finally calmed down a little. However, at this moment, something that shocked all of them suddenly appeared on the big screen. The protective shield of the Cosmic Ghost headquarters has been broken. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 890. Look. The shield is broken. What will they do? The top leaders of the human race all stared at the screen. They didn't know what the Hope Expeditionary Force would do next. Will they ignore the Founder's rules and directly exterminate the cosmic ghosts? Or will they stop there because of concerns about the Founder? At this time, it was not just the human race and the cosmic ghosts who were paying attention to the situation on this side of the battlefield. There were also many other intelligent races who were also paying attention to the war here. The previous war between the human race and the cosmic ghosts did not attract the attention of too many races. However, as the war expanded, even the cosmic ghost army from the outside world began to enter the original star through the portal, causing more and more races to start caring about this side. They keenly felt that the war launched by the human race this time seemed not just a retaliatory war, but more like a decisive battle between the human race and the cosmic ghosts. Therefore, when the shield of the cosmic ghost headquarters was finally broken by the human race because of the exhaustion of energy, the top leaders of those races also held their breath and stared at the screen nervously. They also want to know what the human race will do next, and among these races, a considerable number of people hope that the human race can exterminate the cosmic ghost without scruples. It's not that they have any deep hatred with the cosmic ghost, but they really want to know whether the so-called rule really exists. For a long time, they have always been just guessing about the Founder. No creature of any race can see the Founder. Of course, that rule has always been just a legend, but, even if it is a legend, no race dares to take the risk to touch this taboo. And now, the original star has finally appeared in the situation closest to touching this taboo. Now the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost has lost its defense. Both the Cosmic Ghost tribe and their buildings are directly exposed to the artillery fire of the Hope Expedition. Although there are still a steady stream of small fighters entering the primitive star from the portal of the Cosmic Ghost base to support the Cosmic Ghost, due to the number of fighters, their participation is of no use at all. Thousands of human fighters are firmly guarding the portal at this time. The Cosmic Ghost fighters will be shot down directly after leaving the portal, and there is no time to react. Moreover, since they could not communicate with the outside world, the members of the Cosmic Ghost outside did not know the battle situation on the original star at this time. They only knew that their members were attacked by the human race and needed their support. After the shield of the Cosmic Ghost headquarters was broken, Wang Feng and Duan Lei looked at each other in the Yanhuang, and then Wang Feng looked at the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost below, with his hair flying, and clicked several buttons in succession. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. After Wang Feng clicked those buttons, more than a dozen thick beams of light shot out from the Yanhuang, targeting the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost. Finished. In the headquarters of the human race, the senior members of the human race who saw the scene shouted one after another. They did not expect that after breaking through the defense shield of the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost, the Hope Expeditionary Force did not hesitate at all and directly launched a devastating attack on the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost. That was the secondary gun of the space battleship. The volley of more than a dozen secondary guns, the headquarters of the Cosmic Ghost without the defense shield, would definitely be directly destroyed. Human race, actually dare to do this? Are they crazy? It's over, the Cosmic Ghost, it's completely finished now. Let's see if the human race will be punished for daring to directly exterminate another race. It seems the human race has made a great grudge with the Cosmic Ghost outside. Other races who were watching this war also exclaimed. Although they also hoped that the human race could be more thorough and directly exterminate the Cosmic Ghost, when this scene really appeared, they didn't dare to believe it for a while. And just amidst the surprised or horrified discussions of these people, and the desperate eyes of the cosmic ghosts at the cosmic ghost headquarters, the thick energy beams finally reached their destination, and in the midst of a violent explosion, they completely covered the cosmic ghost headquarters. Not good. The whole army retreats. Immediately. After the energy beams covered the headquarters of the cosmic ghosts, Wang Feng suddenly felt something was wrong, as if a strong energy fluctuation was brewing below, so he shouted loudly, and at the same time strengthened the shield of the Yanhuang to the strongest, and began to climb upwards urgently. After hearing Wang Feng's order, the pilots of other small fighters did not hesitate to drive their fighters to flee, and even the small fighters surrounding the portal began to evacuate. One reason was that they would not disobey Wang Feng's order, and the other was that the energy fluctuation was quite strong, even these hope warriors could feel it. Although they didn't know what this energy fluctuation represented, the veteran hope warriors all felt a hint of danger. Therefore, after Wang Feng's order was issued, the small human fighters that were still wreaking havoc in the Cosmic Ghost headquarters instantly withdrew from the Cosmic Ghost base, and fled to the sky or to the distance at the fastest speed. What are they doing? What the hell is the human race doing? They have already won, why are they running away all of a sudden? Huh? Did these guys see a ghost? Why are they running so fast all of a sudden? What happened? Did the founder take action? What is in the Cosmic Ghost headquarters? Why did the human race all run away all of a sudden? This, who can tell me? What is going on? Those races who watched the battle through images, because they were not at the scene themselves, could not feel the energy fluctuations, so they felt a little puzzled about the actions of the Hope Expeditionary Force. Just when they were puzzled, all the races watching the war suddenly found that the reconnaissance planes they used to monitor the Cosmic Ghost base were destroyed. Because the screen in front of them suddenly lost the signal, they didn't even see what destroyed their reconnaissance planes. Quick! Send a reconnaissance plane immediately. No. Send someone directly over. See what happened over there. Send a reconnaissance team immediately to the Cosmic Ghost space to find out what happened just now. Quick, quick, quick. Order the first reconnaissance team to rush to the Cosmic Ghost base. For a while, countless races were in chaos. They took action and sent their own people to the Cosmic Ghost base again. Originally, not all the races of the original star were observing the war between the human race and the Cosmic Ghost. Even when the last incident happened, there were only more than 30 races that sent reconnaissance planes to monitor the war in real time, including the human race itself. Because in fact, only the human race themselves know that this war has little to do with the original human race of the original star. They just participated in the beginning of the war, and then they had nothing to do with it. Because the human race was close, they also sent a team of scouts to observe the war nearby. However, when other races lost their surveillance images, the human race also encountered the same situation. Even the team of scouts sent out suddenly lost contact and could not contact again. Quick! Get a small fighter, let's go and see what's going on. Fuxi patted Haoshen's shoulder and said solemnly. Haoshen nodded and turned away. As a senior member of the human race, mobilizing a few small fighters is certainly not a problem for Haoshen. He didn't use them before because he wanted to save resources. Now, with such a thing, they certainly need to figure out what happened as soon as possible, and there is no time to consider saving. Fuxi is also very anxious now. Wang Feng and the others are the hope of the human race for Fuxi. Now he doesn't know what happened there, so Fuxi decided to go there in person to have a look. Dong Huangtai did not stop their decision. He also wanted to know what happened to the universe ghost. At least, from the previous pictures, the headquarters of the universe ghost had been completely destroyed by the Hope expedition. Yanhuang is also a space battleship of the human race. The high-level human race officials are quite clear about the power of its secondary guns. The headquarters of the universe ghost, which has lost its defense shield, has no chance to stop the concentrated fire of more than a dozen secondary guns. Haoshan quickly drove a small fighter to pick up Fuxi. What surprised him was that Dong Huangtai also followed Fuxi and got on the small fighter. Haoshan did not say much. After the two entered the cabin, he immediately closed the cabin door, then took off and flew towards the base of the Universe Ghost at the fastest speed. Moreover, on the way, Dong Huangtai and Haoshan kept calling the scout team, but they never got any response. Damn! Where did they go? Haoshan was furious. Don't worry about them for now. If they don't reply, it means. Fuxi frowned and said, but he didn't continue after saying half of the sentence, because he didn't know what to say next. Could it be, that the founder really took action?